What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
Today we're going to be reacting to another video coming out of Breaking Points. We got Sagar and Crystal Ball reacting to some news coming out of the White House. So Trump's kind of been going in on the coverage of the Iran war or Iran conflict or Iran excursion. You know, take your pick, dealer's choice. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into this video because it is wild.
So we've got a bunch of updates here on the home front about the censorship regime that the Trump administration is trying to put in place at this point, threatening broadcasters who dare accurately cover his disastrous war. These are some comments from Air Force One last night from Trump himself. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
They put out phony stories, the Kamikaze boats. The Kamikaze boats don't exist. They're fake. And you can almost see that when you look at them. It looks great, yeah. Because if they did exist, we'd hit them just like we hit other boats all over the place. But they don't exist. In fact, some of the people say, where are the boats? How come nobody's seen the boats? You know why? Because it's AI generated. It's fake. And I found, I didn't realize this before we started, but Iran is known for a lot of fake news. And they deal with our fake news. And I actually think it's pretty criminal because our media companies, who have no credibility whatsoever, are putting out information that they know is false, and it's a very dangerous thing for the country. I think they could be in serious jeopardy.
So I know that's hard.
So before they get into it, they're going to expand on it. But in this day and age, one thing that this goes to show is, for starters, unless you go and do your own research, you can just listen to what he's saying and be like, man, AI is getting good, because we're in that day and age now. AI can be used for so much. It's like literally the the South Park thing that they did in this last season, where they're talking about how Trump is using AI and or AI exists and all this different stuff. I don't watch South Park, but I've seen a couple of the clips going around. So pretty much Trump had got caught doing something wild. And he was like, oh, no, guy, it was AI.
President Trump having relations with Vice President Vance. Fox News is live at the White House. Yeah, hey. Definitely disheartening news here. Why the president would do this to Satan with a baby on the way, we don't know. Guess it's anyone's guess why.
Sorry, we gotta interrupt you there. We just got word that the president is calling in to Fox and Friends. Are you there, sir?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, Mr. President, what is going on?
We're doing some great things here. More than Sleepy Joe Biden over here. Everything's great.
Well, what about you and the vice president?
Relax, huh?
We're trying to relax, sir, but we've all seen the security footage.
No, that's fake. It's all sorted too.
It's fake?
Yeah, that's all sorted too. That's all fake.
Oh, it's fake! Oh, thank God! Of course it was fake! How could we have doubted it?
This is a Fox News fake news alert!
But with all that being said, you as the viewer, as somebody that doesn't really dial in to news and politics to that extent, if you just see this in passing, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, the president said that was fake. It was AI. And keep it pushing. It's a scary time. Scary.
Hard to hear, but he says there that the coverage is pretty criminal of these specific things. And let's go ahead and put his True Social up there. This is D2, guys. Just to emphasize how hard he's going on these threats against journalists in the way that they cover the war. Here he is threatening to charge media outlets with treason if they report things in a way that he does not personally like. So he says, Iran has long been known as a master of media manipulation and public relations. They're militarily ineffective and weak, but are really good at feeding the very appreciative fake news media false information. Now, AI has become another disinformation weapon that Iran uses quite well, considering they're being annihilated by the day. They showed phony kamikaze boats. This is what he was talking about in that clip, shooting at various ships at sea, which looks wonderful, powerful, and vicious, but these boats don't exist. It's all false information to show how tough their already defeated military is. The 5 U.S. refueling planes that were supposedly struck down and badly damaged, according to the Wall Street Journal's fake reporting, and others are all in service with the exception of one, which will soon be flying the skies. Buildings and ships that are shown to be on fire are not. It's fake news.
So again, I've said this in some of my other videos. The way this information is coming out, the way it's being reported and things of that nature, can you honestly say that you know all the facts, that you feel confident that you're getting factual information from your president, the administration, your news sources? This is all just muddy in the water. And he elaborates on it even further, but you've already got Fox News is one of the largest news organizations that exists current today. So they're definitely just going to parrot whatever the administration is saying, right? It is what it is. I'm going to actually react to some footage to see how they're reporting on it, because I think it's important to, not just stick to what I find acceptable reporting and things of that nature. I want to see what the other side is reporting. That being said, how do you feel? Do you think that you're going to get accurate information? That's my ultimate point. With the way the president is reporting, you could probably go watch CNN and see what they're reporting. You could go watch CBS, MSNBC, this, that, and the third. You can go to all of these different networks. The facts should be the facts no matter what channel I'm tuned into. The fact that I can go to a different channel and get a completely different list of reality or a visualization of what's going on in the war, it's insane. And now we've got all of these organizations buying up all of these corporations, all of these billionaires buying up news organizations to where we're not gonna have any sort of free thought or actual factual reporting. Everything's gonna have some sort of bias to lean you in a specific way. You're gonna have Fox News, which is gonna keep doing what Fox News is doing, whatever the hell you want to call this new version of CBS. And then soon, once Ellis or whatever, if he ends up buying CNN, what do you think that network is going to turn into, and what kind of coverage do you think we can expect to see from them? Because he's definitely buddies with Trump. Lindsey Graham, they're going to get into it. Lindsey Graham had him as a +1 for the State of the Union, and we all know where Lindsey Graham falls on the line as far as hard right conservative or MAGA conservative, neocon conservative. Take your pick, but you should be scared, and you should not trust whatever. Get off my soapbox.
Say it with your chest, little ass nigga.
Created by AI. For instance, Iran, working in close coordination with the fake news media, shows our great USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, one of the largest and most prestigious ships in the world, burning uncontrollably in the ocean. Not only was it not burning, it was not even shot at. Iran knows better than to do that. Isn't that the one saga that supposedly there was a laundry fire?
Yes.
That was the alleged problem there. The story was knowingly fake. And in a certain way, you can say that those media outlets that generated it should be brought up on charges for treason for the dissemination of false information. The fact is, Iran is being decimated.
Treason.
The only battles they
Not
win
the
are
first
those
time
that they
he's brought up
create through
treason.
AI and
Somebody
are distributed by
disagree,
corrupt
though.
media outlets. The radical left-wing press knows this full well, but continues to go forward with false stories and lies. That's why their approval rating is so low. I can win a presidential election in a landslide, getting only 5% positive press. They have no credibility. I'm so thrilled to see Brendan Carr, the chair of the Federal Communications Commission, looking at the licenses of some of these corrupt and highly unpatriotic news and scare quotes organizations. They get
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
I'm sorry. I just can't let it go without saying something. 5% positive press is crazy talk. Again, no matter how you see it, like, yes, you can, everybody can keep saying like, oh, he gets so much negative press. The people that are his supporters do not watch that press. They watch Fox News and maybe now CBS News, Newsmax, things of that nature. They are watching what tells them the things that they want to see. So saying 5%, the news organizations that support him are where his base goes to watch him. So they're getting positive coverage all the time. It's 100% positive coverage for the people that believe the way that you believe, think the way that you believe, and vote for you. So this is a misrepresentation of facts, and it fucking it's infuriating.
Billions of dollars of free American airwaves and use it to perpetuate lies, both the news and almost all of their shows, including the late night morons who get gigantic salaries for horrible ratings and never get, as I used to say in The Apprentice, fired. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So not only does he say, maybe we should file charges of treason against companies, media companies that report things that we don't like, but number two, I'm glad to see that Brendan Carr, chair of the FCC, is already moving in the direction of threatening media outlets and threatening their broadcast licenses for quote unquote unpatriotic news.
Yes.
Just so disturbing and Orwellian.
Well, you can already see. Let's put Brendan Carr's tweet up there, guys. This is D1. He's the FCC chairman. He says broadcasters that are running hoaxes and news distortions, also known as fake news, have a chance now to correct course before their license renewals come up. The law is clear. Broadcasters must operate in the public interest. They will lose their license if they do not. And frankly, changing course is in their own business interest, blah, blah, blah. The point is that this would affect the direct networks, NBC, ABC, etc., that actually still require a broadcast license from the FCC. Yours truly, we're all here on the internet and or cable news who wouldn't be as affected. But if you compare the two things together,
so again, pay attention to what Sagar just said there, and that's the reason why independent news is going to be so important moving forward. Mainstream news, as long as especially now the FCC is weaponizing, they're weaponizing the FCC to do the administration's bidding. If this becomes common practice, you can hang it up for mainstream news. It's pretty much already at the point to where you should not get your news from mainstream news and take everything that you hear as law. You just can't. You just can't in this day and age. Too much money is invested. It's a lot of propaganda. It's a lot of performance, and a little fact. There are certain pockets of it where it's just factual information from the ground without a spin. But let's face it, like that's not what gets the most views. It's not what gets the most eyeballs. So again, I'm trying to warn as many people as I can. Just part of why I want to grow this channel, because you should be scared and you should be seeking out other sources to stay informed.
CBS News, and obviously the Trump administration's support for CBS News, you can see how they're trying to control the narrative. And what Trump said there is empirically bullshit. For example, do you remember that crowd that we showed, Crystal, for the morning of the Ayatollah for his funeral? He is saying that's AI generated. It literally came from a photographer working for the New York Times. It's not AI generated. And now, there's a couple things that are very scary about that. Do you want to know who claimed that it was AI generated? The
Israelis. Yeah.
So how did Israel lobby BS talking points get into the brain and the mouth of the president of the United States?
So let's pause here for a second. So a couple of things that I think are key before people try and make an opinion on breaking points in general. So breaking points, I appreciate them because of how they're kind of organized. I usually watch Sagar and Crystal, but I watch the other anchors too. Anyway, Sagar is conservative. He voted for Trump twice. He voted for him in this election too. And he said that he was duped pretty much. He expected that the people that would be around Trump would kind of be some sort of, checks and balances on some of the things that would be more extreme. And he said, you know, he didn't see a lot of these things coming. So he's owned up to that, and you know, that's all. You know, what else can you do? I can't just keep saying told you so, or it's your fault kind of deal. We're in it now, so we gotta keep moving forward. And then the second part of that is he, you know, if he's calling it out for what it is, that just goes to show you how crazy it is. Yeah, this is insane, and they are not going to be as beholden to the FCC, right? The FCC doesn't have as much sway over independent media as they do broadcast television. And that's the ultimate thing of what I was trying to get at. I just wanted to give that background on Sagar before people think, oh, yeah, this is just another Trump-hating network or organization and stuff like that. Like, nah, he voted for him twice.
That's a very interesting question, so much so that he wants to file treason charges against the people who publish and or talk about such videos. Then you have combined the FCC and this so-called patriotic news. I saw this first during this press conference with Pete Hegseth. We have D3. Let's go ahead and play this. This is
last thing before they get into the Pete Hegseth comments. This is not the first time Trump has been easily influenced by outside sources. You remember how Trump treated the African president when in reference to the genocide of white South African farmers, right? So, and obviously he was being fed that by Elon Musk. Elon Musk had been saying that for a while. He got it into Trump's ear, and he, you know, does a whole slideshow presentation and stuff like that, which is wild, right? But remember, this is not the first time. People know how to manipulate our president, and that is, again, you know what? I'm not going to keep trying to fearmonger you, but you know, that should concern you a little bit.
Wouldn't let that shit happen to me though.
From Friday, where he's lambasting the press for accurately giving a report of what's going on with Iran. Let's take a listen.
Or more fake news from CNN. Reports that the Trump administration underestimated the Iran war's impact on the Strait of Hormuz. Patently ridiculous, of course. For decades, Iran has threatened shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. This is always what they do, hold the strait hostage. CNN doesn't think we thought of that. It's a fundamentally unserious report. The sooner David Ellison takes over that network, the better.
The sooner David Ellison takes over that network, the better. What do you think that exactly shows you in terms of their support for David Ellison, who was Lindsey Graham's guest for the State of the Union? Do you remember that one? Literally Lindsey Graham's guest for the State of the Union is going to be owning CNN. So they're going to same similar, by the way, who's going to be affected by a broadcast license because of total oligarchic ownership of media and so-called patriotic press. And in the press conference, Pete Hegseth out there is talking about how you shouldn't say things like, for example, he took issue with a headline where it was like, Iran war widens. How could you take issue with that? He said you should say Iran is defeated.
Not only how could you take issue with that, how dare you, as the Secretary of Defense, pitch taglines for news organizations? Like, are you not listening to yourself? Like, you shouldn't be reporting this. You should have this headline. Like, this is how it should read. So you should be, that's the only way that it's not biased. And that's the only way that it's the facts. He worked for a news organization. It's insane that he thought that he could get that one off. But these are unserious people.
Or Iran is not doing as well or something like that. And I was like, Iran war widens is a statement of literal empirical fact. If you hit 10 countries in a single day, that's widening. That's what it's called. And I mean, look, this is nuts. And when compare it with what we're about to talk about with Tucker, this is the most dangerous thing. It is also entirely fitting with every time that this nation goes to war, Americans who live under it become less free. The censorship that happened, either self-censorship or state pressure that happened under Iraq, shaped the entire environment for pushing the country into war under false pretenses. Under Vietnam, very similarly, the crazy amounts of censorship, state pressure that was here at home, it empowered the state. Remember the Patriot Act, of course, also after 9/11. During World War II, we had literal government censorship where they're deciding what or what not. You know, different reporters can report out from the battlefield. And then the origins of wartime censorship of a lot of the power of the state is the American Civil War and the First World War, where you had the exact same situation play out here at home. State power, locking people up for reporting things badly, using an expansion of surveillance and censorship, all under the guise of patriotism and supporting the war effort. This is why it is so dangerous, actually, for us here at the home front. And in those cases, many of those wars were much more popular, Crystal, than this one is today. If you launch a war with 60% disapproval, I mean, just imagine the way that you're going to have to censor your way out of that one. So you actually could see an even bigger crackdown that comes from, at that time, at least people were buying the BS. This time, not so sure. Not this time.
Yeah. And Trump is, you know, I mean, he's deeply authoritarian to begin with. And even before launching this incredibly unpopular, illegal war of choice, was aggressively going after the media. And so, I mean, I think there's a few things to note here. First of all, this is also a sign of weakness, because they're clearly crashing out. I mean, Trump himself is like lashing out at reporters who ask questions he doesn't like, issuing these long True Social posts. He put another one out defending the good honor of Mark Levin, blah, 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 who, you know, Megyn Kelly said he had a micro penis, and now Trump's got to come and ride to the rescue and make sure everybody knows that Mark Levin is a great American patriot, et cetera, et cetera. In any case, he's clearly crashing out. And Hegseth is not saying this stuff on his own. Brendan Carr is not saying this stuff on his own. He was at Mar-a-Lago right before he issues this statement, etc. This is all coming directly from Trump, because if there's one thing he knows, it is TV news coverage. And he is watching this, and he knows, even in spite of the fact that so much of the coverage is pro-war propaganda to an absurd degree, he is watching this and going, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good. What can I do? And so he reaches for all of his tools of bullying and threats and coercion. You know, even prior to this, we had all the lawsuits against media organizations to get them to bend to his will. You have major media organizations being sold off to the Ellisons, as Pete Hegseth reminds here. You know, you said, okay, the threats against the primetime broadcasters, like those don't apply to cable news. They don't apply to where we are on YouTube, et cetera. But hey, TikTok was sold off to the Ellisons. So they have other means of, you know, trying to coerce and trying to stifle dissent. And the TikTok thing was 100% over. They didn't like the way that the Gaza war was being accurately portrayed. The Gaza genocide was being accurately portrayed there. They didn't like that. So he got a crony, a pro-Zionist, pro-Trump crony, to go in and strike that deal. You know, all these media companies, they are giant conglomerates. They don't care about the news. They don't care about the truth. What they care about is their bottom line. So if you know, YouTube has a deal in front of them, if any of these companies has a deal in front of them, they want it to go through, they're going to be listening to closely to these words about, you know, unpatriotic content.
So when you see that one come, we are cooked. If for whatever reason the administration sets its sights on YouTube for whatever, you know, to try and put in some sort of guardrails or what you can and can't say, we cooked. You'll never know. You'll never be able to receive accurate information. AI is on the rise to the point to where it's only a matter of time before we won't know when we're being lied to or when we're being told the truth anyway. But that's going to be,
and how you've got to be towing the Go USA line. And some of that stuff has real power. You also have the other effect here is to try to gin up a lot of public fervor and outrage at media outlets that cover things accurately. So if we could put up D6, ABC News, they had a headline that I think, again, is just accurate reflection of what is going on. Even as Iran has been pummeled by Israeli and American airstrikes with its military capabilities greatly diminished, which is actually the Trump administration's framing, Tehran continues to demonstrate resolve both in adapting and expanding its military tactics, observers told ABC News. That is just reality. I mean, you guys saw that the drone strike video. Right. You saw the missiles that were landing in Tel Aviv. You see the Strait of Hormuz continue to be held. You see the oil refineries, struck in the GCC countries. Like, That is just accurate. And yet, if you go and look at the comments below this post, you have all these people, and you can put some of these up on the screen, who are furious. How dare you? This is Iranian propaganda. Observers told ABC News the Observer is being their news. RT and Jackson Hinkle. Iran is defending their own country. The U.S. is not. Well, that one is sort of accurate. ABC News wants us to know that our enemies are very strong and brave. So tons of outrage here.
It's not. I mean, y'all seen it. That's just crazy.
In the comments of people who want to be lied to. That is what's going on here. And sadly, and we saw this in the Iraq War, there was a large contingent of Americans who were desperate to be lied to about that war as well. And were furious at anyone who tried to puncture that bubble. The other piece, Sagar, that I think is really important to talk about here is Trump is right that AI has destabilized reality. And you do see that. I mean, when we're trying to figure out what is real, what's true, what's false, etc., it is very difficult, very, very difficult. And we are, I think, extremely conservative about the images that we bring you. We only put up things that are absolutely verified. Even then, it continues to be dicey, etc. But there's no doubt that it has become much more difficult to separate truth from fiction because of the quality of these AI deepfakes now. The BB is BB alive or dead question is a good example of that. And so not only do you have things that are fake, that are being disseminated, that are, have the appearance of truth, but also what Trump is doing is he's taking things that actually did happen
and telling you
and trying to undermine your confidence in them by saying, no, that's AI. So like you said, the marches and protests in favor of the government in Iran, which is the thing that really has happened, not just once, but multiple times. He wants to say, no, that's AI. And we saw this playbook in Gaza as well, where they would say, these horrific images that you're seeing, these are AI, these are fake. This is Pallywood. Trump is using that same playbook. And because AI has destabilized reality, unchecked AI has destabilized reality, and there are no limits put on this, there's no ability to tell truth from fiction, it gives him an angle to be able to push these bullshit Israeli talking points. And to tell you the truth, I think he believes it. I think he believes that those protests were fake. I think he's buying whatever the Israeli handlers are telling him at this point.
That is so crazy.
He bought the white jeans.
And I think we should all be extremely, extremely on guard, because this can move fast. It can move quick. Power of the state. We're about to talk about this with Tucker Carlson, and what they will do usually. Let's just move over to Tucker.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below.
Yeah, make sure, if y'all not, I like their the way they present information, the stories that they choose. So definitely encourage y'all to go to Breaking Point, subscribe, and tune in. They're, so far I believe trustworthy, honest, and give it to you straight. But y'all let me know what y'all think. I think we're heading in a direction we're going to be cooked. And I think, there are multiple things that have to do with it. But the fact that people can be so easily manipulated and so easily taken advantage of without seeking out the real information just goes to show you we have a severe lack of education in our country. And in this day and age where it's so easy to be misled and follow something that could be AI, like you think you'd want like a second or third source and some sort of verification before you just go off the deep end and believe something, or not just believe what's told to you in a tweet, actually go look for yourself. But that is not the case. People are willing to just be spoon-fed their opinion and run with it. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, I'll holla at you.